Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to the SEA League Qualifier number 2. We are in the final day of action of the qualifying rounds. After today is done, we will have our final participant in the main group stage play for the SEA League. That all starts tomorrow, but before we get into the groups, we got to work our way through the brackets. So quickly, we take a look at those brackets. As mentioned, we are in Qualifier number 2. Neolution Thailand, or Neo ES Dota, as they're also known. They were the first team to qualify. They are your winner brackets champions. There is no grand finals for this particular event because 2 teams qualify, so there's no need to see who finishes or to have a one final winner. The loser bracket finalist will be the other team, or champion rather, will be the other team that qualifies. We'll see who it's going to be. Currently 4 teams remain awake. Or Awoke, rather. No, it's Awake, sorry. Awake versus MSIevoGT-TnC, the game we're about to cast now. And on the other side of the bracket, Sino and Pacific Neolution. So after this game, we continue onwards. We then have our loser bracket semifinals. And then, of course, the loser bracket finals with QMX waiting. They were your winners bracket finalists that got knocked down. I'm LD, of course, your host. You're watching this tournament on Beyond the Summit. And, well, the main event hasn't even started yet, but we've already had some pretty entertaining games. This one will be a solo cast, but hopefully later today, Winter will be joining me. So with all that being said, let's dive into the game. Quickly talk a little bit about the teams, because I'm sure a lot of you aren't familiar with them. Awake is a pretty forgotten Thai team. They used to be up there with Mythtrust, Neolution, and Ideal Gigabyte. They lack international Southeast Asian tournament experience. If they even have any, I don't know about it. But they're still quite a good team. They've been scrimming a lot, and I've been told by Pacific Ren, who really follows the SEA scene closely, that he thinks they have a good shot in this tournament. And I have to say, I agree. When they played against QMX, they did end up losing that game, but they showed a lot of poise up until a certain point in the game. They had an early blink on their bat and their puck, and then things kind of fell apart. It seems like they favor multiple semi-carries, not going for that hard 4 protect 1. And we'll see how that matches up against MSIevoGT-TnC, or MSI-TnC as I'll call them for short. Of course, they are the Pinoy favorites in this tournament. By far should be the heavy favorites to have taken the event, but they forfeited their first match in the winner's bracket round 1. And that's why we're currently in a situation where they're in the losers bracket, even though I would say they're by far the most accomplished team in this entire qualifier. They haven't earned the right into this tournament yet, and it's a best-out-of-1 format, so anything can happen. But MSI-TnC, of course, is a merger of MSIevoGT, a very accomplished Pinoy Dota 1 team, captained, of course, by Kimo and Iwi, who played for them previously coming from Mineski, is now a part of the merged MSI-TnC, and the other component, the 3 players from TNC Gaming, the most, or Peggy Big TNC as they were formerly known, the most accomplished Dota 2 team in the Philippines by far, and was the Filipino representative at the Asia, in fact. They have a boot camp venue, they sleep and play together, and I mean, pretty much it's as close to Chinese training conditions as you can get outside of China. They having a place where you can all practice together on LAN every day, and also living and sleeping together. If anything can build your team up, that'll do it. Let's see if it translates into results here today. It's a best out of 1 format. With all that being said, let's talk about the draft. As for Awake, they banned out the Wisp. Very interesting by them. And it looks like they actually had the first pick in this draft. And yet I guess it's just, throw away the ban on the Wisp. It's a rather surprising ban to see. But it looks like they want to go for split push. Keeper, Quita Pay to Windrunner. These are multiple heroes that can keep the lanes pushed, pressure the opponents constantly. And if you want to do that, if you want to spread the map, you don't want to be playing against Wisp. As for MSIevoGT, no surprises. They have that second pick, so they make the standard bans. And they go for the PL, but they're not going to be able to get their hands on the Kodal this game. And when we've seen PL succeed, it's, I want to say, like 7 or 8 times out of 10, it's with that Keeper of the Light. Not just for the Chakra magic, but also because Keeper can help keep the lanes pushed and, of course, teleport him around the map. Naga, the ban from MSI-TnC. They are they're basically banning out the heroes that can combo really well with Keeper of the Light. So we see the Nakes ban, now the Naga ban. Most likely we're going to see an offensive tri-lane. Well, it doesn't have to be an offensive tri-lane, but some sort of tri-lane with Keeper, and then plus some sort of farmer, and then that other support here, which is yet to be picked up. They know the Quita Pay to Windrunner will get the solo lanes most likely, and so very smartly by TNC, they recognize that. They start banning the heroes that they're most worried about, because any supports that are left at this point, you could ban them, but they're not going to be particularly high impact. There's nothing like a Shadow Demon or Rubik available in the pool. So even if TNC maybe could ban supports, they're more worried about that farmer in the tri-lane. As for TNC, they've got a little bit of everything. They've got the support in the Rubik. When we've seen the puck played in this tournament, it's been going solo mid more often than... Well, actually, I think we already saw it once, but it did go solo mid. So let's see where it goes this game. And oh boy, Sand King. Again today we see it. We saw this hero quite a lot yesterday out of QMX. We saw Hank Kiki just delivering an absolute tour de force performance on that Sand King. And let's see how much he can accomplish. The one concern for me is they don't really have a great setup aside from the Sand King. And of course, he's not really the most reliable initiator until he gets his Blink Dagger, and at least until he gets that Burrow Strike leveled up. And, well, I'm curious to see if they can find the openings. We've seen Sand King getting a lot of farm priority in this tournament, even when he's played as the 4 position, which is normally how he starts in the laning stage. They kind of transition his farm priority and make sure that he gets that Blink Dagger. And it's the one nice thing about Sand King as opposed to other heroes who fill a similar role, like, say, a Tide, or, like, say, an Earthshaker, is Sand King's a pretty decent farmer with Caustic Finale and with Burrow Strike, so he can actually get that farm. But we'll see if he's able to find it this game. As for TNC, they see what Awake's going for. With the Sand King Keeper, I guess they're expecting a defensive tri-lane. They're not really worried about Awake being aggressive. And it's hard to get aggressive against Rubik PL, because if you try to initiate on them, Rubik's going to sit behind the PL. PL can always doppel walk, and he'll probably be nearest tower anyway, so Sentry Ward's unlikely to really help you. And of course, Rubik can just lift and allow, with telekinesis, and allow the enemy, or allow his tri-lane to disengage and the PL to get out safely. So they feel confident they can deal with any sort of offensive tri-lane, or they just don't expect it. So they're going to get a little bit greedy here, pick up the Enigma. And if you look at MSIevoGT-TnC's lineup, they're not really that great against aggressive lanes. But the way that Awake is drafted, it doesn't look like they're going offensive tri-lane. They could with Sand King Keeper +1, but any tri-lane with a Sand King is going to really struggle for that initiation. And let's see if they can find that opener. There's really not a great support to combo with them. And actually, okay, so interestingly, they're going to go for the Anti-Mage. That'll be a defensive tri-lane with the AM Keeper, Sand King. And I guess we're just going to see a jungle Enigma. MSIevoGT-TnC probably going to pick their tri-lane here on just abandon the off lane. They could throw the Enigma into the suicide lane, but for the most part, the teams of this tournament have just been favoring abandoning that suicide lane, and I think that's what we're going to see out of TNC. Put the Enigma in the jungle, puck mid, PL and Rubik in the safe lane, and then that +1 going to be doing some farming as well. And let's see what that +1 is going to be.
5 seconds remaining.
I suppose it could be a mid Rubik, and it could be an off-lane puck. That's another possibility, albeit I feel unlikely, because puck doesn't really do well in the off-lane against Anti-Mage. He can get completely zoned out of the lane 1v1, even with the buffs he's had recently. How did this hero slip through? Oh my god. Oh my lord. Apparently the teams forgot him too, because he comes in as the last pick. And also, by the way, a very nice way to deal with the Anti-Mage is to have that wall and create some Anti-Mages of your own. We all know how Winter loves to talk about that, and Bruno is not joining me, actually, it's just me. So let me fix the overlay there real quickly. But they go for the Darkseer, they get it with the last pick, and now MSIevoGT-TnC, if they have a decent start, their mid-game is absolutely insane. Look at that team fight. Black Hole, Vacuum, Puck Silence. You can't win a 5v5 clash unless you have the epicenter of your life. And the issue, again, for me this game is Sand King is really the best initiator on this team, but he's also the 4 position at best. And is he actually going to be able to farm that Blink Dagger? And if he doesn't, can they really find openings? We'll find out. And I'm just trying to find this damn overlay. Where are you, buddy? Am I weird that I just hum? I always want to hum Jeopardy whenever I'm looking for something now. I think I have a disorder. Alright, that's neither here nor there. My disorders aren't your problem. On the side of Awake, we have AF, or AF, playing the Sand King. We have Boom Bell on the Windrunner, and they are going offensive tri-lane. So, actually a little bit of IG style. This is the exact same tri-lane that we saw in Victus Gaming Run to great success in the G League. Granted, they had YYF on the Windrunner. But nonetheless, YO2 on the Keeper Light. Offensive tri-lane with... this is actually not a bad way to deal with the PL. You can constantly push the wave. It's going to be hard for MSIevoGT to pull, and they need to. As mentioned there, it's a very greedy, level-dependent lineup. I just didn't expect this from Awake because we haven't seen any SE to A teams do this sort of thing, really. But DVA on the Queen of Pain. We have Toy as the Anti-Mage. I love this. I love this decision by Awake, because you're up against Enigma, you're up against Darkseer, who could be in the lane, or if he's jungler. Either way, it's a greedy lineup that doesn't really want to fight from levels 1 to 7 for that first, 6 to 10 minutes. This is exactly what you want to do, is keep the pressure up, control the enemy jungle. Most likely we'll see either the camps warded or a lot of movement from the supports. They're actually not blocking the camps. They just want to have vision so that when the Enigma's in the jungle, they can look to punish him. Of course, what Cast can do if he senses this is go offensive jungle, and Anti-Mage won't be able to punish that. So let's see if Cast is going to make that adjustment, if they're going to roam out of the lane and pressure him. For the moment, with the lane ward placed, we do expect to see Awake just constantly spamming the wave down, Jackie the enemy pull if they go for it, or if not, just muscling down the tower, and that's going to limit the space the PL has to farm. Interesting ward placement. We saw this one a lot in the G League as well. Just basically a lane ward that's not in the traditional spots. It's not a ward over here in the jungle. The one thing that concerns me, though, is if you look at MSIevoGT, they have no vision of this Keeper of the Light right now. They have no idea if he's channeling. It's going to make it very hard for Trio to farm, and they're going to have to find the trade, or not Trio, sorry, Ryo to farm. Double damage on Windrunner just to make it even more difficult. Our other lanes, quickly, let's introduce the players. On the side of MSIevoGT-TnC, the heavy Pinoy favorites, we have Iwi on the puck. We have an off-lane Darkseer, he was the mag last game, being played by Jesse Vash. And he is doing the nice thing here. Very annoyed for Anti-Mage to lane against the Darkseer. Actually, was the Anti-Mage pulled? Well, he's got an... Actually, looks like he was. Good amount of regen for him. Just got that extra set of tangos, and it's going to make it a little bit easier for him to deal with Jesse Vash. And AM can actually win this lane. He does struggle a little bit early on, but as the lane goes later, he'll have an easier time of it. Oh, actually, sorry, he just salved up as well. He had just used that while the pause was happening, so he was pulled quite a bit. And of course, the defensive tri-lane. We have Chemo on the Rubik. We have Ryo on the PL. And Cast on the Enigma. Over on the other side, on the side of Awake, we have Queen of Pain, who's just manning the hell up. DVA. Oh, I already introduced her, didn't I? I'm sorry, guys. I'm checking chat. I'm a little bit distracted. Just want to make sure there weren't any issues with the stream. And it looks like it should be good. So constantly applying pressure to this lane, trying to limit the PL's farm. But the issue for them, of course, is there's a jungle Enigma. And, oh, nice dewarding by MSI. This is going to really... When you run this offensive tri-lane, there's two ways to go about it. One is to just try to keep the lane pulled back and make it unsafe for the PL to farm. The other way is to constantly push the lane, look to jack the neutrals. But the problem is this tri-lane doesn't need to pull because there's an Enigma in the jungle. So he can just farm, and Rubik can kind of roam around with him, leech a little bit of experience. So they both still get quite a bit just because Enigma farms incredibly fast as a jungler. Here comes the wraparound. Enigma's level 2. Rubik's level 2 as well. Oh, this 2-hero Burrow Strike could be trouble. Is he going to land it? He only catches the Enigma, but it might be enough anyway. Shackle isn't going to latch. Cast in trouble. He walks inwards. The Eidolon's doing the big damage, but I think he's going to fall first. He will. Pio gets counter kill number 1. Who's going to get the next kill? Chemo's dropping low. Windrunner will fall. And did she actually get to use... Oh, she doesn't have Windrun yet. I was wondering why she wasn't using it. Yeah, went for that level 1 Shackle. And the offensive tri-lane, they're all only level 2. Meanwhile, top lane, Anti-Mage getting close to the Tranquil Boots, and that's going to really allow him to stay in lane. Very, very important to get that early regen, be it the Ring of Health or the Tranquil Boots. The nice thing about the Tranquil Boots is you can run away from the creeps easier when they're Ion Shell, and especially Darkseer. Cheeky Darkseers will Ion Shell a creep and then surge it after you. And sure, you can blink away, but you don't want to be blowing your blinks like that. So, going for the Tranquil Boots here. We'll most likely see him go straight for the Battle Fury after this. And he should be able to do so. Jesse Vash struggling a lot more. He's going for the Soul Ring. No surprises there. And our middle lane, so far, Puck 11-6, DVA 8-2. So Puck actually, Iwi winning this matchup. And we saw this one can go either way in a fistful of tangos. And since it's a defensive tri-lane with an Enigma jungling, as well as an offensive tri-lane, it basically is a true 1v1 in this lane. We haven't seen the supports really checking the runes or rotating around too much, except rotating from the jungle to gank that bottom lane on the part of MSI. Nice dodge there. Does force out the phase shift, and, well, not able to do as much as you would like. Anti-Mage really starting to pull ahead in this top lane. And I'm a little surprised. Well, Jesse Vash, he hasn't been backstabbing the creeps as much. Normally what you want to do as Darkseer is just sit over here so that Anti-Mage can't even come and mana burn you. Jesse Vash got a little bit greedy. He was trying to kill them here and also pull them into neutral so he could farm the enemy neutral simultaneously. Here comes the initiation bottom lane. Chemo gets the Burrow Strike, but the combo wasn't there. That's not really the right way to do it. And the problem is they're in the dark right now. There's a sentry ward over here. They do have the lane ward, so they will see the keeper unless he walks like all the way around here. Man, I'm really John Maddening up this gate, aren't I? Unless he walks like hugging the tree line, basically. So if what you want to do is channel the Illuminate first, and then go in with the Burrow Strike. And doing it in that order, Burrow Strike first, then channel Illuminate, just not nearly as effective. But it's hard to do it because they lack the vision. So far, Anti-Mage having a great start, but otherwise it does seem like there's a bit of a struggle. And Cast, look at him, being very active around the map. Summons the Eidolons first, doesn't get the Malefice off. They just want to pressure this Anti-Mage. When Cast is in this lane, it means Anti-Mage isn't farming. So sure, you're going to offensive tri-lane. RPL isn't getting much farm, but he's also not dying. He's leveling up nicely, so is Rubik. MSI's happy with this trade because, sure, Anti-Mage has been farming, but with Eidolons constantly parked in his lane, with Darkseer constantly ion-chilling creeps, they can push this tower, they can prevent him from farming. And the trade-off for Awake isn't really that great. Getting the Windrunner farm is nice, but shutting down the Anti-Mage is definitely more important than that. So I think this is a smart adjustment by Cast, and that extra tower gold is also going to make up for the lack of farm that the PL is currently experiencing. So far, so good. I gotta say, I really like the way that MSIevoGT is running their lanes. Remember, they had the lineup that was a little bit weaker in the laning stage, not as good at pressuring, not as dominant. Nice Illuminate doing some good damage to the Rubik. They just can't quite bring this down. They do have the early raid of Basilius. Everything looks pretty standard so far as skill builds. So this is what... Oh, here comes the backstab Burrow Strike. Is there an Illuminate channeling? There is. It is going to hit. Does a lot of damage. Can PL find the counter kill? Oh, he's not able to get away in time. He was still in tower vision. Dies even though he's in Sandstorm. Meanwhile, the pressure continues top. And notice, Toy's farm has just ground to a halt. He cannot farm. The tier 1 dropped while the aggression was happening bottom. And Awake is shutting down the PL, but there's a trade-off here. And at some point, somebody's going to have to come and help this AM. They really don't want to give up the tier 2 top this early in exchange for a tier 1 bottom. And if they rotate out of the bottom lane, then that frees up the PL to farm. So the way that MSI is playing is going to force Awake to make a sacrifice some way or another. Checking the top room, but of course you check top, it's spawning bottom. This guy has LD's luck, I must say. YO2 will rotate down. He's picked up a fresh set of observers and sentries. They really need to reestablish vision on this bottom side of the map. Puck also, I think, getting pretty close to his upgraded boots. Or not. No, actually, Iwi really struggling in terms of farm. Well, not really struggling, but not dominating. He had a much better start, and well, he has kept the Queen of Pay down. He does have quite a few denies. DVA driven back to the tower, blinks away. If they got the initial... if they got the lift there, that would have been a kill. You can lift him back into the silence, then follow up with the Dream Coil, and there's just no way for the Queen of Pain to blink out, but not able to do so.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
And that ward placement gonna be very helpful to spot the movement of the Rubik. Would like to see the Keeper actually just pull the creeps away so they can push this tower, but they don't. Not microing it. What he should have done is just move the creeps over here, pull them into the enemy camp, and you can even farm that, but more importantly, you can just chip away at the tower with your own creep wave. Still, the pressure is mounting. And mid lane, Chemo's gonna go for the wraparound. Where's that silence to start? Oh, he's late on both. He completely whiffs, airballs it, but DVA walks back in, overconfident, thinking he can live, or maybe not. He's looking like he's gonna survive in the end. Wow. DVA almost finds the turnaround. In fact, he might. No! Both heroes. This is like watching two guys bleed out. Their corpses, they're just flat on the ground. They're trying to shoot each other, but they can't even get the angle right. And somebody's going to die sooner or later. For the moment, Chemo is going to take over that mid lane. He is really leveling nicely. You run this aggressive offensive pushing tri-lane to punish the enemy's greed, to shut down their farm, to get the early tier 1, and I gotta say, Awake, I don't feel they're getting enough out of this tri-lane yet. They've slowed down the PL, he hasn't been farming. But PL, as we've talked about many times, as we've seen, doesn't need crazy farm. He doesn't have to get something like a relic anymore. He can just get the drums, go towards the Diffusal Blade, which has a nice build-up. And because of that, you can get away with having a PL who has a bad start, as long as you're getting the trades, and they are. Everything looking pretty good right now for MSI. I would say they have a bit of an edge, but Toy, working towards his Battle Fury now, has that Claymore. I assume there's... Actually not farming as well as you would hope with that safe lane AM. The tower taking a lot of damage. It's largely because of the Enigma's rotation there. Tower's down, deny range bottom. Meanwhile, top lane, it looks like the Darkseer gets picked up. Are they going to TP in? Does anybody have one? Oh, Blinking forward is AM. Wants Chemo, but the Eidolons are here. Don't underestimate those Eidolons. Don't underestimate Cast. 2 black holes, too. There's no follow-up yet. Here it comes for the puck. Oh, he courts in. He picks him off. And this AM just not able to really keep the farm going. First, it was the Enigma in his lane. Now it's the Death, really slowing him down. And the puck, Iwi able to have the big impact rotating up there. That safe lane AM pulled a bunch of regen versus Darkseer. You do that, and you pick that hero because you basically say, we know we won't beat the PL in an even fight, but we're not going to have an even fight. We're going to be really far ahead. He'll get his Battle Fury up, and he'll have that Manta style when the PL is maybe just completing his Diffusal Blade. And we'll just outfarm him and then win the game before PL can get his next couple of items. But because of these deaths, AM is not really farming quickly enough, and Queen of Pain isn't off to a great start. Everything looking pretty good for MSIevoGT. If I were awake, I'd be feeling quite nervous at this point. Especially because the offensive tri-lane, and I mentioned before, their big initiator is the Sand King. But the Sand King is a 4-position offensive tri-lane Sand King. They only got the tier 1 bottom. He's just not getting that quick farm up. He's still going to need his Arcane Boots before he even thinks about the Blink. Hell, he needs to get level 7 before he even thinks about either of those things. Because a level 5 Sand King is not really that scary. Oh, this is a smart choice by Cast. He's rushing the BKB, and if you look at Awake, they have exactly one ability that can cancel that BKB, and that's the Mana Void from the Anti-Mage, just with that mini-stun. This BKB is going to make him basically guaranteed Black Hole, and the beauty of it is, they have so much great follow-up. They've got the Puck, who doesn't have a Blink yet, but once he gets it, it'll be a really good combo. And they also have the Darkseer, who, well, actually Jesse Vash is very poor. Spent so much time pushing the AM. This was the trade for MSI. And what has Chemo stolen? Can we see what the spell is? Oh, I never realized it like steals her soul. Oh, that's so cool. Oh my goodness. Wow, Valve, you've really outdone yourselves. So for everybody just tuning in, this is a great time to check our brackets. Of course, you're watching the SEA League, but this is not the main event. This is qualifier number 2, the last qualifier of the tournament. After this qualifier completes, we go directly into the main event, which starts tomorrow. Don't have the exact times yet, but I will for you, hopefully by the conclusion of today's action. We have 5 teams left standing. QMX, who is going to be one of the top 2 teams in the losers bracket, but top 2 ain't worth squat. You got to win the losers bracket to move into the main event. Otherwise, all you have is a learning experience. So the winner of this game goes on to play the winner of Sino and Pacific Neolution. And quite a few Neolutions. The first Neolution, the original one, how appropriate, the Thai squad. They actually already secured their berth yesterday. Oh man, really got the hiccups here. Don't drink water, apparently. They took down QMX 2-0 yesterday. And, you know, life lessons for me. Don't drink water, guys. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So after that, we have the losers bracket. I guess the semifinals, or the round 3, you want to call it. And then the winner of that goes on to play QMX. The winner of that qualifies for the event. So we'll see, but only one of these 4 teams in round number 2 will actually make it all the way to the losers bracket finals. And only one of the teams from the 6 who started today will actually make it into the main event. So by the time today is done, we'll know our final team. By the way, I'm actually going to post a link in the chat right now for everybody who's curious about just to know a little bit more about the actual main event. Where is that link? I just want to show you guys some of the teams that are in the main tournament. The big ones, of course, Orange, the new Orange with Ohio, and the new Zenith with Yamate as well as Ice. So that's something to look forward to. They are in the tournament, as well as quite a few other top Southeast Asian teams. Team Invasion Red, not Invasion N9, Invasion Red, the Malaysian squad. You've got Mineski, of course. From the other qualifier, we had First Departure and Dreams qualifying. First Departure, as the game does on pause. What did he actually steal? Oh, level 4 Scream of Pain. He's going to be happy about that. That is some fearsome burst damage. Oh, and First Departure actually took down Zenith in a recent event. I think it was for the GEST Dota 2? It's for a recent Southeast Asia tournament. So if they can take down Zenith, they are a scary team to be reckoned with. Here comes the Illuminate, channeled up, doing some good damage to Iwi. The Sand King is smoked, and he's looking for the gank, but he's only level 5. And a level 5 Sand King, You know, it's not even the fact that he doesn't have Epicenter. It's the fact that he doesn't have his max Burrow Strike. It doesn't do as much damage. It's not as good range. And it's still decent at level 3, but yeah, I'd really like to see Awake back up, relax, let the Anti-Mage get his Battle Fury. Sure, you don't really want to go late against MSI on even footing, but you're just not in a position to do anything else. Your best bet is to farm up those core items, get the mech up on the Keeper, get the Arcanes to the Blink on the Sand King, get the Anti-Mage to the Battle Fury, and also if you're being a little more defensive, you can keep the Anti-Mage safe and make sure that that Enigma isn't roaming over there, that the puck isn't coming in. I think that's the thing that's pretty much what you have to do if you're MSI. Or if you're Awake right now. You can't really contest anymore. Oh, Eidolons are so annoying. And like a good support, YO2 takes all the gold from his carry. Bottom lane, it looks like Windrunner is going to get caught out of position, runs away. The vacuum was late. Oh, if they hit that vacuum, it would have been an easy kill. Missed timing, just waited too long to unleash it to Jesse Vash, and it cost them a kill. Every time this Windrunner escapes, she's also getting close to the... Oh, sorry, she's building the mech. So what am I talking about with the Keeper of the Light? I'm actually a little surprised she doesn't have it already. They got that early tower. She was getting some pretty good farm. Hasn't really gotten any... Oh, she's got the one death, that's why. Yeah, she really should have the mech at this point, as getting that much farm and getting the early tier 1, but she's getting close nonetheless. Chemo comes in, starts with the telekinesis, and just melts the Sand King. Well, he does need the farm, but the problem is farming mid is not very safe this game. MSIevoGT just has so many reliable initiates from the Surge into any of the abilities, of course the telekinesis lift, the Malefice. They don't have a big AoE initiation until the BKB comes out. But what they do have is a Windrunner who's in a lot of trouble, and she's getting so close to the mech. She already used Windrun. She's definitely not getting out of this unless she jukes like a boss. And Jesse Vash just gives up. He used Vacuum. I guess he expected the TP, but I think he might have been able to just burn her down. It would have come down to the wire there. Literally like 10 to 20 HP difference if she lived or died, but just abandons the chase. Hey, he does force her to TP out. She's not farming, but this Windrunner is being a bit of a nuisance. She's slowing down the PL's farm, although he's up to the Ring of Achilles, got the Triangle Boots, and now he goes for the Diffusal. We're most likely not going to see that drum at this point, just build the Diffusal. And PL is going to be very good against Awake's lineup. Heroes like Queen of Pain just melt to Diffusal Blade PL illusions as intelligence-based heroes. Anti-Mage could easily find himself unable to blink if he gets mana burned at the wrong moment. This is a lineup that really relies on their mana more than most lineups. Like certain lineups, like let's say if you have a Lifestealer, he doesn't really care that much about getting mana burn. Rage is very cheap to use. He's going to be able to get it off, and then he won't be mana burned. But this particular lineup for Awake really does need it. And Cast, getting close to his BKB, but he's going to pay for this. Shouldn't be able to escape here. Really should not be able to escape here, but is juking forever and a day. Decides he'll take a few creeps before going down. The maximum possible economic victory for him, but he does still fall. It was the Keeper who got the kill. More wards for him. They kind of need a pipe this game. Maybe we'll see the Keeper go for that. The issue with going for pipe on Keeper is he's so damn squishy that you may not be able to use it when you want to. If he gets caught by anything, and there's plenty of things to catch him, he'll die without ever activating that pipe. Sand King, the death obviously set him back. Does finally have the Arcanes, but that blink is still a long way off. Oh, did he steal Burrow Strike? Oh, he did. Chemo, such a boss. And that's also just a flat-out mistake by the Sand King. You have to protect spells like Burrow Strike. You have to make sure that you use Sandstorm. Well, in the case of Sand King, you just have to make sure you use Sandstorm. With other heroes, they have a couple of spells they can often use instead of their big one. Like with the Mag, you can Skewer, you can Shockwave just to protect that RP, but that's a mistake. We'll have to see what he can do. And the beauty with Rubik is, even though it's only level 3, he's already got Telekinesis to set up. And with this Burrow Strike, Boom Bell is just so dead. Here comes the Doppel Walk in, here comes the Pain, and the Phantom Lance. Easy kill. Killing spree for Ryo. Although he's basically just collecting kills that are handed to him on a silver platter by his own supports. And the one thing I want to point out is that Windrunner is posting up way past the river, and she's playing entirely in the dark. They have no vision of the enemy jungle. They don't know where their supports are. Frankly, you do want your Windrunner to be pressuring the PL. That's generally the adjustment you make with the offensive tri-lane. But in order to make that work, you need ward vision. You need to be able to spot common areas where heroes are likely to smoke, as well as common rotation paths if they're not smoke ganking. Level 8 Rubik, who's been all over the map. Chemo really having a big impact. Can he keep it up? MSIevoGT-TnC, I expected them to take that winner's bracket pretty handily based on past results. Of course, they forfeited their match there, but it's still looking good. Anti-Mage Battle Fury has been up, it looks like, for maybe a minute and maybe 2 minutes or so. So like let's call it a 13.5, 14-minute Battle Fury. Pretty good timing. Considering, and when we look at the CS, it shouldn't surprise us. He hasn't gotten his tower yet either. Mid lane, Puck is waiting. He's got an Invis Rune. He's got the Blink, but he doesn't need it. He can Dream Coil and Silence here. He gets both, and the Orb. Single-handedly, in comes the backstab and the wipeout. Chemo just slams them to the deck, but really, that was Iwi with the great setup there. The rune control is strong in this one. And while this is happening, they're getting a trade, but getting this tier 1 is not worth giving up those kills. Windrunner still doesn't have the mech. Died again before finishing that mech. Just really setting her back. And the Queen of Pain, desperately poor. Now, it doesn't surprise me that a Puck breaks even or does reasonably well against the Queen of Pain, but and the level to which she got dominated is something that really shouldn't happen. It should be more of an even matchup. And it comes back to the support, if we remember. The Rubik actually came in, Queen of Pain saw him go for that initial gank, backed off, but then Chemo just wrapped around, came the other way, and she wasn't prepared for round 2. Had to anticipate that and just play a little more defensively, and as a result, gave up the kill, and then ever since then, it's just been constant pressure on this middle lane. I also want to point out, Ryo was static farming this lane for quite a bit. Something that's very smart to do, because it draws that Windrunner in if she wants to pressure you. Sometimes you want to push the lane aggressively, like if you're this Battle Fury anti-mage. You really want to be pushing the lane constantly, creating pressure. But in the case of the PL, he's just sitting back, he's keeping the creeps pull back so he can farm safely, and also so that the Windrunner can't farm very easily, and the mech now coming out on him. Where's the Blink on the Sand King? It's nowhere to be found. I distinctly remember 2 games we saw yesterday where Sand King did not have a very good time, and even so he had about 700 gold at this point in the game. There was another game where he had about 700 gold at 19 minutes in, and these similar items. So let's see if he can get that Blink. Oh, Queen of Pain just getting picked up, and it's all about the vision right now. They just see her coming. They've got the wards up. They have the ability to spot her rotating towards the runes, and just checking that rune solo, very dangerous. And again, it's all about having those reliable setups. When you're up against the early Queen of Pain, if you have telekinesis, it makes it so much easier to get a kill. If you have some sort of other stun, like a Vengeful Spirit Magic Missile, you can just easily phase shift, just join it, and back off. Even to like Burrow Strike, you can occasionally dodge, but with that reliable lift setup, then once you get her with one ability, she's just gonna melt. And maybe if she had something like a Linken's or a BKB, she'd have a chance, but it's not looking good. Jesse Vash pushing him mid, starting to catch up a little bit in terms of farm. And Toy is just not having an impact. He really needs to be pushing this lane constantly. I think he's been spending too much time in the jungle. We saw Darkseer in the lane, and Anti-Mage was nowhere to be found. And now the Diffusal Blade is out on Ryo. And honestly, he offers a lot more to his team with just this Diffusal Blade and Reign of Aquila than Toy does with his Yasha Battle Fury. That's the beauty of PL. And my game is lagging. Oh, sorry about that, guys. I was experiencing a lot of lag. Looks like PL did get picked off while that was happening. Rotation in by the Sand King. Bottom lane, meanwhile, here comes the Windrunner, surging in with the Windrun, looking for a shackle. Chemo juking hither and thither, and the telekinesis stun just barely gonna miss, but he stole Windrun, and Chemo just jets away. And the worst part is not only are they wasting time, but they're wasting time trying to kill the Rubik. The 5-position Rubik, when there's so many other more higher priority tiers. But the good news is they got the PL. They slowed down his farm. If you look at MSIevoGT-TnC's lineup, although they have a lot of very farm and level dependent heroes, they only have one who does significant damage later on in the game. Awake has at least 2, with the Queen of Pain and the Anti-Mage. Although I guess this Queen of Pain isn't going to be doing much damage just because of how far behind she is. But even a hero like Windrunner is more of a semi-carry and a late game threat, I would say, generally. But when a Puck's already got an Ultimate Orb, Blink, Power Treads, that's a freaking fat Puck. Here comes the PL, chasing Boombell. And now that he's got the Diffusal Blade up, he can't even be zoned out. The Windrunner can't even pressure him anymore. Whenever you go for this offensive tri-lane, and I mentioned IG really executed well. We saw them use it at least 3 or 4 times in the G League. But the crucial part is that first 5 minutes. Making sure that even that first minute or two, just making sure you have vision up in the enemy jungle, making sure that you're pressuring the lane at the right moments, that those Illuminate channels are hitting for full damage, that Sand King Burrow strikes in after the Illuminate's begun channeling, and then you go. All those little touches make or break the tri-lane, because if you don't have a good start, then the Enigma comes out of the jungle at the 3 or 4 minute mark, as we see a smoke gank heading towards top, with his level 2, level 3 Malefice, the Eidolon's there, and he's just able to easily find the kills. And then once that first death or two happens, then life just gets much trickier. So they can't pressure PL. Queen of Pain waddling around with an Invis Rune, but not going to find anything. If they get the lift off and Toy, I think he's dead here. He won't be able to blink away. Now he's silenced. And he'll drop. And interesting, another player just hadn't had a chance to look at his skill build, but he's not going for the Burning build this game. There is a lot of magical damage. Nonetheless, you go for that early Battle Fury. The Burning build helps you farm a lot faster. He's maxing out all of his spells, but he's still quite vulnerable, even just to the auto attacks from Eidolons. They can bring him down pretty quickly. Well, he melted there. That's a big loss because not only is the AM dying, but PL is pressuring bottom lane. They're most likely going to lose their tier 1 and significant map control. Here comes the Sand King Burrow strikes in. Black Hole catches 2. Now they're backwards, almost out of the Black Hole, but I don't think it would have mattered anyway. And the first BKB charge and the second Black Hole, I believe, of the game goes to great effect. And while that was happening... Oh, no, I thought I saw a new death notification, but that one already happened. Queen of Pain does bite the dust, as mentioned. And the PL, the army of Ratmen, or monkeys, depending on what you believe in. Easy time of it. Gods will be very happy. And actually, this is something worth talking about. If you want to go for maximum DPS on PL, upgrading your Diffusal Blade is much more important than getting something like a Yasha or a lot of other items, because every single illusion does that additional mana burn damage. It goes from 20 to 36. That's 16 extra magic damage before reduction for every auto attack, for every illusion. That is a lot of freaking damage. That's more than you're going to get just from, say, picking up a Blade of Alacrity, working towards the Yasha. The only reason not to upgrade the Diffusal Blade right away is if you don't want to waste the charges, because eventually they do run out, and you can't have more than 8. So if you upgrade it when you still have 7 on the level 1, then you just have 8 to work with on the level 2. Once that runs out, you're out of charges. Mid lane, going in on Iwi, phase shift on cooldown. He's not able to dodge, but he throws in the orb, and Chemo just mans up and drives them back. Boy, that tells the story of this game. Rubik should not be able to post up like that unless they are really far ahead. As a 5-position roaming support Rubik. But yes, upgrading this Diffusal Blade gives you such a cost-effective increase to your DPS, and ZSMJ was actually well known for his Phantom Lancer long before any of the buffs to PL for just upgrading his Diffusal Blade almost immediately. Even when he had 7 or 8 charges, he didn't care about going for the next items. He just valued upgrading it quickly, and we see why. Ryo is very worried about a smoke gank, and as we look at the map right now, there is just no vision for him. Aside from the mid lane, where they have a simple hill ward. Awake's off the map, and so wisely he will back off. Showing some good map awareness by Ryo. Chemo double bracer. Actually getting pretty tanky. His Scream of Pain currently. And Rune was already picked up by Queen of Pain. It's an illusion for her. She's going for the BKB. And it will help. You basically need this just because of PL. I mean, not to mention the Puck Silence. Even things like Malefice and Rubik Lift. If any of those catches you and you don't have BKB, you're just flat out dead. Here comes the rotation. Cast has a mech up as well. He's gone back for this. Darkseer's almost got his hood. This is going to be a big timing momentarily. They vacuum 3 into the wall. Nice vacuum by Jesse Vash. But where's that follow-up? They wish they had a blink of the Enigma, but they don't. Jesse Vash taking some damage. But, oh, there's actually no Enigma ult. Sorry, the Black Hole's not off cooldown. Meanwhile, Iwi dealing with illusions. He's getting closer and closer to that Hex. PL just pressuring the lane. Notice the difference between the PL and the AM. The AM isn't in the lane right now. He's farming the jungle. The PL is creating pressure on the map, constantly working on the tower. And that forces rotation, and it also most likely forces the death of Boombell, who is between a rock and a hard place. Did not even have mana to wind run because of how quickly he got mana burn. And will get picked off. Who's the real anti-mage now? This I ask.
Radiant's top tower is
Remember, guys, this is a best out of 1, so the loser goes home. The only match that isn't a best out of 1 the rest of the way is going to be the loser bracket finals. The final match of the day will be a best out of 3, and the winner of that advances into the main event. Blink in, there's the silence on Toy. Puck rotated over for this across from the middle lane. They get the pick off. And more effective movement from MSI. They just seem a lot more coordinated, and now Blink has been stolen by Chemo. And talk about even more reliable initiation. Blink Silence from Puck, Blink Dream Coil from Puck, Blink Lift from Rubik. Pick your poison. There's a lot. Do you want to die by arsenic or cyanide? MSIevoGT-TnC will let you choose. They're going to take this tower. Roche has to be in the off-lane, and the Blink Lift, just such a reliable initiation. And the follow-up, Sand King comes in. Burrow strikes through, channeling that epi. Can he get it off? It looks like he'll be able to, but Chemo blinks away. What a boss. Punk now phase shifting. What was stolen from the Windrunner? It looks like it's Power Shot. He's going to go for the snipe. He will. Oh, just barely. Let's see, it would have done enough damage anyway. Chemo playing like such a man. I think he would have been better off holding on to Blink, but hey, you get excited in these fights. You just want to make a big play happen. He's stealing spells constantly. And Cast is just split pushing while this happens. Normally Enigmas can't do this, but when you have the BKB up, as mentioned, there's just no way for them to punish this, really. And he can easily just BKB and TP out if anyone rotates here. So as a result, he's able to create a lot more pressure on the map. Anti-Mage should be frantically pushing out the side lanes right now, but Toy is heading into the jungle. If he's not pushing the lanes, TNC is coming for the towers. He's jungling. This is definitely a mistake from Toy. At least now he should be rotating top. Maybe he's a little bit worried about getting picked off, but if they're going to gank your jungle, and they just were pushing mid, this is the likely camp they'll be at anyway. There's your Dream Coil from Puck catching out the Windrunner, and that's the dead Boom Bell. And they go into the Queen of Pain. Look at the follow-up. Stuns the reliable initiate. Queen of Pain ult flies forth. They really want this Rubik mid still up on the anti-mid. This could be a big fight. This could be a turnaround. Mana Void absolutely melts him down. And then the anti-mage forced to blink away. PL getting close to that Manta style. And one more Lance. I think he might be able to bring down somebody. AM's out of mana. As mentioned, just very vulnerable to that PL Lance spam. Oh, he's looking for the high ground. Oh, he's trying to scout with the illusion and then find the Lance opening from high ground to low ground, but not quite able to do it. Cast his BKB, Black Hole, mech up. As a result, they really should be able to take this tower soon. Well, I say that, but there's a keeper afoot, so maybe not. No backdoor protection. This is actually something that, I don't know if it's been brought up to Val, but I've noticed backdoor protection is quite buggy. Oftentimes it seems like it doesn't trigger, even when there are no creeps near that tier 2. It happens with base towers as well. I'm not sure exactly why. I think it's just like it takes a second or two long to realize there's no creeps there. Something a little odd anyway. I think I've seen posts on the dev forums, but I guess it's just one of those things that's a little bit difficult to fix. In Dota 1, it's a lot more stringent with when you're actually able to backdoor, or when you're able to work on the tower, when it's considered backdooring. He stole Power Shot. More spam for Chemo. He's a happy camper.
At this point, why not?
And the PL is slowly becoming overwhelming. They do have good counter push, but the problem is they don't really win this late game anyway. At some point, MSIevoGT is going to have a BKB up on all their core heroes, and they've got the better team fight. Vacuum Black Hole and the better late game carry in the PL. Awake, because if the Queen of Pain and the Anti-Mage were really fat, maybe they could take this late, but or at least later. But in this situation, there's no choice, and it's a sign of the times when you have your tier 2 mid. And it might go down, but you could maybe look to defend it in some games. And they're so far behind, they're just forced to sack it. Eat the loss. That's not a good situation for them. You know the Roche is coming. And indeed, it should be the target now. Here comes Ryo into the Roche pit. Meanwhile, finally, Toy is gonna... How is this tier 1? This tier 1 should not be steady at this point in the game. Even though he was pressured a lot by the Enigma earlier. This is the job of the carry, especially a Battle Fury Rush Anti-Mage. Should be able to push these towers down. And he's just not creating enough pressure. As a result, MSI Evo is taking all the big objectives. They took the tier 2 mid, they took the tier 2 bottom. They're going to go for Roche next. Oh, Toy blinks away from the PL. Actually, towards him. Away from the illusions. I gotta say, for anti-mage haters, it has to be satisfying to see him forced to run away from things that mana burn. Oh, Chemo gets caught. Is this gonna be... Is that his first death of the game? No, it's actually his fourth, but it feels like one of his first, at least recently. Even when he's gotten picked off, he's had a big impact. That's a very important kill, because Roche was getting... that Roche is under contention right now. If they find one more opening... Oh, well, this might be an opening going the other way. DVA doesn't have the BKB yet. He's got the recipe. Burrow strike in from Sand King, who does it with Blink Dagger, but there's a Hex up on Iwi. I don't think Af was ready for this. Queen of Pain ult flies in, barely tickles him. Dodged by the phase shift. In comes the backline. Backline assault, the PL dishing. And it will be Boom Bell who falls down. Anti-Mage Forced to blink actually up. I thought he was going south. Onto Jesse Vash. Has the Mono Void. Will unload. Gem on the floor. Needs to pick it up. He does do so. He's going for the BKB. PL, meanwhile, picked off the Keeper of the Light. And look at him go. Cast jumps in. Black Hole is there. Catches the Queen of Pain. There's your silence. Down she falls. 4 heroes dead. Triple for Ryo. And the monkeys start to grow rapidly. They're a prolific race, the Monkey Men. And they're just gonna go for it. Forget about Roche. These guys want to end the game. MSIevoGT very far ahead. 13,000 gold lead. 17,000 experience lead. Blink in for the anti-mage. Has the BKB. Cast cannot... can't really do anything. He's forced to run away here. Anti-mage is gonna drop though. Epicenter comes in. Not really the best chain, but pretty good. Boy, if they had that Queen of Pain scream, oh combo, they could actually maybe bring down some of these MSI heroes, but without it, PL is just gonna whittle away. Bite at your heels until eventually you collapse, and down the racks will fall momentarily. I think there was a buyback for the puck. They really want this racks. They've committed a lot for it. I actually wonder what happened to the gem. We'll check in a second. Chemo, meanwhile, shackled up. That's a great shackle by Boombell. Catches out too. Ryo forced to run away. Rax is defended. But it was an well, puck comes in right as I look away. Then ports forward. Catches out the Keeper as well. Iwi, nice play from him. And with 4 heroes suddenly dead, that buyback pays for itself. And they will be able to get the Rex on the second win. So MSIevoGT-TnC, it looks like this is their game at this point. Big gold lead, better late game lineup, better map control, creep advantage soon to follow. And Awake really goes back to that laning stage. The anti-mage getting picked off, the rotation from the Enigma to that top lane, also the movement for the Rubik to gank the Queen of Pain mid, and at least the way that they played that offensive tri-lane, getting that 2-for-1 trade in favor of TNC really cost Awake. They should have been in better position. They did not have the wards they needed. Of course, if you remember, they put 1 ward here which got dewarded, and then there was a lane ward. So they did not see the Enigma and the Rubik coming in, and getting those kills, MSI really understanding the ward game, dewarding, and then setting up kills with the jungle Enigma. It turned what could have been a really promising tri-lane into Awake into a bit of a problem, and just never really able to recover. Not entirely out of this game yet, but at this point, MSIevoGT have to screw up to lose. That's really what it comes down to. Your PL's got a Reaver, a Manta style. You've got the better team fight with a mech as well as a pipe, a BKB, Blink, really everything that Enigma ever needs. Everything else is ultra luxury for him. You know, refresh. Oh, Iwi! Did he just get out reactioned there? I think that's not a word, but I'm going with it anyway. Nope, he'll be fine. Didn't even have to use this hex. Out reactioned. Man. It's funny. For anyone who's never cast before, which I assume is most of you, you'll actually be surprised about how many words you forget when you're casting. I'll tell you, my vocabulary is one of my stronger suits, but you wouldn't know it sometimes from what you cast. It's just you sort of get comfortable with certain phrases and turns of phrase, and you tend to overuse them. What can I say? Top lane. It's just one of those funny things about casting. I find it very interesting. But Toy, pressuring that tier 2 top. Again, just he's not creating enough space for his team. It's Anti-Mage's job when he gets that safe lane free farm, when he's pulled regen, to get the early towers, to create pressure around the map. And not able to do that, it's costing him big time. Boombell is going to be diffused and still trying to wind run out of here, but one more fresh lance. Now force-stepping backwards, just driven all the way into the fountain. Oh, here comes the pain. Black Hole catches him out, rips him to shreds, slice him and dice him, cook it to perfection, and then he'll blink away to safety. But what does it really matter? Queen of Pain jumps in. Rubik just stole the Scream of Pain. Did not get the ult in the end. Queen of Pain able to live on just a thread of HP, escapes, but it's at the cost of the racks, and this looks to be it for Awake. The road ends here for them. MSIevoGT-TnC march forward. They step one closer to claiming their spot in the SEA League. They're not there yet. They still have some work cut out for them. They get 2 lanes of racks, and this should be pretty much the climactic fight. Shackle on 2. Where's the follow-up, though? Nice Malefice there, trying to help keep Ryo alive. He's got a freaking heart, and he's tanking. And he says, sup, buddy? I think it's time to end you, but maybe not. He's not getting the Illusion army he needs. Meanwhile, Anti-Mage Illusion just trying to keep the creeps back. They do pick off the puck. The damage was done, though. 2 lanes of racks. Now they just want to get out, or maybe not. Maybe they want back in. Here comes Chemo. Divon trouble. Boombell trying to run away. Anti-Mage running in, running out. Make up your mind, man. Boombell on the retreat. Awake is in total disarray at this point. Burrowstring only catches one. Should have been able to catch two there, but Off just got impatient. Now he's going to pay for it. Godlike PL. MSIevoGT-TnC very far ahead. Making some positional errors in these fights, but it just doesn't matter. They've got the team fight advantage. They've got the better late game carry. And I think that's just about the final nail in the coffin.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Yikes. I gotta tell you guys, MSIevoGT-TnC is not a team to underestimate. The TNC gaming squad that we saw go to the Asia, technically I think should have won their group. There were some really weird tiebreaker rules. They should have been one of those top 4 teams at the Asia, and that was a tournament that featured a lot of the top SEA teams. Teams like Myth Trust, Zenith, Orange, MUFC. I mean, pretty much a who's who of Southeast Asia. And TNC, in my opinion, the tiebreaker rules were pretty stupid. They should have been in the top 4, one of those top 4 teams in SEA, and they're showing that practice house they mentioned, or I guess it's not a practice house, it's, what did he call it? A boot camp venue, and they sleep together. Interesting wording. But the point remains. These guys are basically living and breathing Dota and playing together, and it's paying off for them. They're showing a lot of coordination, very decisive play from the supports. And you need to do that. When you're up against a pressure lineup like what Awake had, you can't afford to slip in the laning stage, because then, if this game had developed a little differently in the laning stage, Quita, Paid, Winner, or AM are just constantly pushing the lanes, finding solo kills. Here comes the big fight, though. Off going on Jesse Bash. Blake in from Kaz. He doesn't have the black hole. That was just an intimidation blink, and it looks like it might work. The Quita, Paid ult thrown out doesn't really do the whole lot, but Ash will fall. Jesse Vash giving chase. Boombell on the back foot. One hero dead so far. It's only the Sandcade Toy dishing with Ryo. He's trying to bring him down, but Toy is really underestimated how hard that peel hits. I'm surprised he's even going for the peel. You gotta focus somebody else. There's nobody easy to kill. Chemo blinks forward, pulls one back with the telekinesis, and with the Sand King dead, he does not have buyback. That's gonna be 3 lanes of racks. That is gonna be the game. MSIevoGT-TnC just absolutely convincing finish to this game. Look at the gold grab. They were literally never behind, except maybe by like 20 gold at some point in the laning stage. That is a very solid all-round performance. A total team effort for these guys, I must say. Pass chums in. Now he's got the black hole. Boombell walks back into it. Not like he had much of a choice there anyway, because the anti-mage Toy is going to be focusing the peel again. He really wants this peel. He doesn't have Mono Void, and he just doesn't do enough damage. BKB Manta is just not much in the way of attack speed or DPS item, and he's just not able to find the kills. Chemo's still alive. Here comes the Epi, but look how tanky MSI is. Even Cast is still alive. Finally, the PL picks up the kill. The Sandcade is dead. Now they want something else. Toy trying to blink away. Shackle lashes Iwi in place. Now the power shot, bringing him low, but he's able to phase shift. Where is he going to go with this blink? We'll have to see. Meanwhile, Rubik blinks away. Chemo just juking like a boss. Finally, Toy brings him down. The range Rex did fall in the midst of this. Now onto Boombell. Here comes Kaz. Back into the fight. He loves to blink in and just pretend like he can do something. PL is still here, still doing tons of damage, and Toy is in a world of trouble. Throws out a good Mono Void, gets the kill, but it's too late. The damage is done. Finally, the GGs come out. I gotta say, Awake, they are nothing if not a resilient team. They really gave their all in this game. It looks like an overall one-sided game if you just look at the grass, but I have to say, Awake, they didn't give an inch. They made MSIevoGT work for it. Nonetheless, they're done. They're knocked out of the tournament. MSIevoGT-TnC sends them home. And the favorites, I would say, to win this event, or to get that last spot in the SEA League, march forwards. And just for some good measure, let's do a little fountain camping. Why the hell not? Chemo? Nope. Phone's gonna die. There you go, guys. So, that wraps it up for this game, but it does not wrap it up for today's broadcast. You are watching the SEA League Qualifier number 2. I, of course, am LD of Beyond the Summit, your broadcasting coverage partner for this tournament, as well as many other Asian events. If you enjoy my casting, be sure to follow me, twitter.com/LDDota. Thank you all for tuning in. It's great to see such a nice turnout for a relatively, sort of medium-sized event like this, and only at the qualifier at that. Stay tuned, though, guys. We have more action coming your way. MSIevoGT-TnC, they will play the winner of Sino versus Pacific Neolution, and then the winner of that goes on to play QMX, and the winner of that takes the last spot in the qualifier. Stay tuned for more action coming up soon.